Hey, good morning, world. How y'all doing out there today? Well, I'm Mark Cazell Lewis, and I'm coming to you to continue to just to inspire, to motivate, and to encourage someone who desires to lead a better life, to lead their best life. And I also want to encourage you just to dream big because my philosophy is and has been, if you're not going to dream big, why in the world would you even dream at all? You dream big, man. At the end of the day, you really have nothing to lose. And so I feel it's my duty, it's my responsibility to share and to enlighten and to educate individuals who have the potential to do better, want to do better. And God has blessed me to be able to come from nothing, to be able to live a very comfortable life. And sometimes, we just need the right tools, the right information. And what I've learned over the years is that the difference between the have and the have-nots, the difference between the rich and the poor is one thing. It's called information. It's called information. Some folks are privy to information wherein you may not ever be privy to. So I want to share this information with the listener that I have been afforded the opportunity to gather over the last 10, 12 years of my life, perhaps maybe a bit longer, but I just want to share. And I came on the page yesterday evening via a live, and on the live message I was sharing with the listeners that I said I would come to give you a blueprint as to how to get started, and for some individuals, it may not be for you. You may not find this information beneficial. You may not even find any value in what I'm about to present on today. But even if you don't find it to be valuable, please share the information. Share it. It doesn't cost you anything to share. I mean, after all, I've done all the research for you. I've done all the work for you. So share the information, because wherein you may not find it to be valuable, I suspect that somebody would get hold to this information and use it to their advantage, like I did. And so I've been sharing with you about this so-called blueprint that I use. And what I'm going to outline on today is the blueprint that I use to get my daughter started. Now, if you have listened to any of the previous videos that we shared, I shared with you how my wife and I got started, wherein we took out the home equity, $100,000 home equity loan out of one of the houses that we had previously. And we were able to use those monies to get started. But this is for an individual who is at ground zero and trying to get it off the ground, trying to get themselves established, whether you're trying to buy your first home or perhaps an investment property for that matter. But again, this is my blueprint. This is how I got started. We got started. Now, if it worked for me, it'll work for you. I understand other individuals may have done it totally different. I can't give you, what they've used, because why? It's not my blueprint. It's kind of like when young David was about to fight Goliath in the Bible, and King Saul at that particular time had given David his armor. David put the armor on, and it was too big for David. David couldn't fit it. And so the point is, my model may not fit you. Somebody else's model may not fit me. I have to use what worked for me. And I guarantee you, if it worked for me, it'll simply work for you. And think about a blueprint. Perhaps if an architect, an engineer of some sort, the individual that built this house. They can take the same blueprint and build the same house in another community, in another neighborhood, as long as the land is large enough to put the house on. That's how blueprints work. Because if it's good enough to build here, it's good enough to build someplace else. And that's how I feel about the information that I'm about to share with you all on today. All right? And so this initial information I'm about to share is very vital. It's very important. It's information that I wasn't privy to growing up. Perhaps maybe some of you who are listening was not privy to having this type of information. And it's called the credit game. It's called the credit game. Now, my parents wasn't knowledgeable enough to know about the game of credit. And so when individuals don't know something, nobody cannot teach you something they don't know themselves. So that's why I'm here today. I'm here to teach you something that I have been awarded the opportunity to know and to learn. And growing up in my environment, in my community, parents would oftentimes, use their kids, use their name, use their social security numbers to put cable bills in their name, to put telephone in their names, light bills, things of that nature. And ultimately, the kids' credit get messed up, before they're 10 years old. I mean, I know some of you who are listening can certainly identify with that particular scenario. Maybe you were the kid that your mom had put the phone bill in your name and didn't pay the bill. And by the time you were 10 years old, your credit was all messed up. You didn't know anything about credit at that particular time, but it was messed up because they weren't aware of how to utilize credit. They wasn't aware as to how to leverage credit. And so once you learn the credit game, it's not much that you can get, out of this life. And so that's how it started for me and my daughter. And I'm going to share with you the blueprint. It's very, very basic. Nothing deep. It's very, very basic. So if you can get this basic fundamentals down as to how to get started, I guarantee you'll be well on your way. All right. And so with this credit game, this blueprint, my daughter, she was a junior in college. So that's about maybe 21 years old, somewhere there's about 20, 21 years old. When she was a junior in college, she had never applied for credit before. Why? Because I told her, never apply for credit. I said, when it's time for you to apply for credit, we're going to show you how to do it. We're going to build out your credit profile for you. Because you know how it is when you were in college, and, at the age of 18, you get these credit cards. You don't have a job to even pay back the minimum payment. And not only that, you're burdened down with student loan debt that can follow you out through your adult life. And that, to me, it's a state of bondage. I mean, at the beginning of your adult life, you are in financial bondage because you're burdened down with student loan debt. And not only that, you were lured into getting a credit card, maxing it out. Let's say the limit is $500, like I did when I was a young 18, 19-year-old individual, didn't understand the game of credit. Now, the $500 limit is maxed out, but you don't have a job because you're in college. And guess what? You can't even make the minimum $25, $50 payment. So consequently, your credit is jacked up before you even get out of college. So now you graduated with a degree, perhaps that you probably can't even use. Hopefully you get a degree wherein you can use it in society today. But nonetheless, you're burdened down with $70,000, $80,000 of student loan debt. Now you have credit that's messed up. So we didn't want our daughter to be part of that statistic. So what did we do? She graduated with no student loan debt. And not only that, she graduated with money in the bank. And so we got her credit profile mapped out for her. So while she was a sophomore going maybe to her junior year, what happened? we use my wife's credit cards, right? And allow her to piggyback off of my wife's credit card. Well, what does piggyback mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. Piggyback simply means putting my daughter down as an authorized user. Now, as an authorized user, a card comes in the mail in her name. But guess what? She doesn't get access to the card. We simply cut the card up, throw it in the trash. She never even knows that she is the authorized user on the card. So you take about 3 or 4 credit cards, right, that has maybe 5 to 7 years of good reporting credit history to the 3 credit repositories, being Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And not only that, you want the 5 to 7 years of good credit reporting. Please don't be late. You cannot be late. You have to have top-notch reporting across the board over those 5 to 7 years. But the greater the length of the credit that you had on that particular card, the greater positive impact it would have on your credit reporting, okay? And so, authorized user, 5 to 7 years of good credit reporting, and then thirdly, on the credit card that she's going to be piggybacking, that she piggyback off of, please ensure that you have about 10% of utilization. What does that mean? 10% of utilization means that you only use 10% of the available credit on the card. You don't want to have the cards maxed out. Some say 30% utilization, but I highly recommend and suggest unto you that 10% utilization. So if you have $1,000 credit limit, so 10% of the $1,000, what's that, $100 limit that you should use on the card? That's what we mean by credit utilization. And so what we did was for about 6 to 9 months, she piggybacked as an authorized users on several credit cards. So around about January 2020, she was about to be going for her 21st birthday. I say, listen, you're going to apply for your first credit card today. So take it to the credit union. I told her exactly what the lending institution was going to do for her. I said, you're going to get a credit card, about a $5,000 or so credit limit. And after that, I said, you're going to apply for a line of credit. I said, with the line of credit, you're going to get about maybe $500 to maybe $1,500 limit on the line of credit. Boom. Lo and behold, going to the financial institution, she applied for the credit card. Bam, approved. $5,900. Here's her first time ever applying for credit. $5,900 credit limit. I left her there. I said, listen, baby, I'm gone. You got it from here. I leave out of the bank. And I said, before I left, go ahead and apply for your line of credit. She called me. She said, Dad, I also got approved for a $500 line of credit. Bingo. Exactly like I told you, right? Exactly like you said, Dad. So that was the start of my daughter getting a leg up in the credit game. And I taught her all about credit utilization. I taught her all about when she should pay her credit card statements. All of that. Got it down. Mastered. So she got the credit card in January. So what happens? February of 2020, she applies for a mortgage. But mind you, now, even though you have phenomenal credit, right, you have to have a source of income, because no lending institution in their right mind is going to give you any money if you don't have a means of paying back the money that they lend you. All right? Let me backtrack for a minute. When my daughter did the piggybacking for the 6 to 9 months, that gave her over a 700-point credit score before she applied for her initial credit card herself. I really want to bring that point up because some of you may be wondering, how does the credit get established? Because she takes all that credit history that my wife had, all those numbers of years that she's been having those good payments. Guess what? Now they reflect on my daughter's credit report. So now that gives her a credit rating when she's never have even applied for credit before. So I really want to bring that point out so you can get a better understanding of how the credit score was established. So in February, she applied for the for the mortgage. It was $125,000 house, right? She was working at the Tropical Smoothie. Tropical Smoothie is this smoothie place, all right? And so when she applied for the mortgage, her income was only about $16,000 a year. $16,000 a year. She qualified for a $125,000 mortgage. Applied in February, guess what? 2 months later, in the month of April, she closed on her first house. First house, no money down. You got that? Her first house, no money down. No money out of her pocket. So all the money she had saved up while she was in college, guess what? It stayed in her bank account. So, a quick recap. Find somebody, some family member, some loved ones, some friends who can trust you. Not that they really have to trust you because you're not going to get the credit card anyway. Or if you have a kid, I don't care if they're 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, they're 10 years old. You have good credit. Put your kid on your credit card as an authorized user. So by the time they're 18, 19 years old, they've already got good credit. So now they go off to college. It's time for them to apply for an apartment. They don't need mom to co-sign. They don't need dad to co-sign. Why? Because mom or dad has already established them some good credit 9 to 10 years ahead of time. That's how it works. So if anything like me, you wasn't privy of this information when you was a kid. Again, most parents use their kid's name and social security number to establish credit only to destroy the credit. I'm teaching you ways how to get a leg up in the credit game. So that's the basic, fundamental blueprint or foundation as to how we got our daughter started. That's how she got started. Now guess what? She's on her way to doing some bigger and better things because she, at the age of now 23, has mastered the credit game. Again, mastered the credit game. So I want you to share this video. I want to get this word out. I want you to follow the page. I want you to like the video. All right? Share the video. That someone would be encouraged. If you find this video to be valuable to you, I suspect that it'll be valuable to somebody else. Now, I can be selfish and hoard the information, for myself, to myself. But what good is it? I don't want to be like thousands of other individuals, that's taking all the knowledge and all the wisdom to their grave. No, it's not going to do anybody any good in the grave. So I want to share it with you while I can. So if I'm sharing it with you, please share it with somebody else. It doesn't cost you anything but a smash of the button, a smash of the share button, a smash of the like button, a smash of the follow button. This is very valuable information. This information will actually cost you a lot of money, but you got it here from me, absolutely free. So please like, please share. If you find this information to be valuable, please leave some comments. Let me know, because I have some other information I'm going to be following up with. But I want to give this basic information, this basic blueprint, if you will. I just want to share it with somebody who's been motivated, who's been encouraged. You know what? I can do this. Guess what? Yes, you can. You can do it. Because if God blessed me to do it, He'll do the same thing for you. Hey, God bless you until we talk to you again.